The sound of my son's laughter is the only thing that keeps me going these days. It is a sound I used to take for granted, but now each giggle feels like a rare and precious gift. It is a sharp contrast to the memory of the doctor's office just a month ago, a place of sterile silence where our world broke apart. My wife and I learned our son has a rare condition. The doctor said there was a treatment, a special one that could save him, but our insurance would not cover much of it. The bills started coming, and they were like a tidal wave, threatening to drown us. We tried everything. We cut all our spending. Our kitchen table became a mess of bills and spreadsheets. We had quiet, scared conversations after putting our boy to bed. We were not asking for a handout for something fun. We were fighting for our son's life, and we were losing. In a moment of desperation, I thought of my parents. They have always been comfortable with money, the kind of people who helped with a car repair or a new appliance. I swallowed my pride and sent my mom a text, explaining the situation. I said it was a loan, that we would pay back every penny. The wait for an answer was agony. When her reply came, it was a long, sad text. She talked about bad investments and a tight financial situation. She said they simply could not afford to help. I was crushed, but a part of me understood. Times are hard for everyone, I thought. But then I looked at my son, and I thought, if his own grandparents cannot help, then who can? That is when we started the online fundraiser. It felt like putting our deepest shame on display for the whole world to see. We had to write a sad story about our family and pick a happy picture of our son, one that did not even show how tired he often is now. Setting the goal for the huge amount of money we needed was like admitting we could never do this on our own. When I finally posted the link online, I felt sick. But then, something amazing happened. People started giving. A guy from work I barely know gave money. An old friend from school donated. The teachers at my son's school all chipped in. These were not huge amounts, but each one felt like a miracle. Each notification on my phone brought a little spark of hope. We were climbing a mountain $1 at a time. During all this, my sister was texting me about her silly problems. She complained about her dating life and her job. She talked about maxing out her credit card for concert tickets. I was too busy and too tired to care about her dramas. Just as we were feeling a little hope, seeing the fundraiser grow, my sister's name flashed on my phone for a video call. I answered the call, and her face was glowing with excitement. She said, "You will not believe what Mom and Dad did." She turned the camera and showed me the inside of a brand new fancy car. My mind went numb. She said her old car broke down and she just mentioned it to our parents. They showed up and gave her this car as an early birthday present. The cost of that car was more than we were begging for online to save their grandson. The betrayal was so huge it stole my breath. My mom's text about having no money was a lie. A disgusting, horrible lie. All my fear and love for my son froze into a hard ball of pure anger inside my chest. My sister kept talking, but I did not hear her. I took a screenshot of her smiling face with the expensive car behind her, and then I hung up. I looked at that picture next to a picture of my sick son, and I knew what I had to do. A cold calm settled over me. I took a screenshot of our fundraiser page, showing my son's face and the small amount of money we had raised from kind strangers. Then I opened a text to my mother. I attached the two pictures side by side. One was a plea for her grandson's life. The other was proof of her lie. I did not write a long message. I did not yell or cry. I simply wrote, "I hope her new car is more reliable than your love for your grandson." I pressed send. I saw she started typing a reply, but I did not want to hear her excuses. I went to her contact and I blocked her number. She was gone from my phone. For a moment, there was a quiet, empty feeling. It was over. But then, my phone rang again. It was my father's number. He never calls. The ringing phone felt like a final, unanswered question hanging in the air, and I knew the silence was broken for good. The phone kept ringing, my father's name flashing on the screen. He never calls. My relationship with him was always one of quiet nods and brief conversations about the weather or sports. He was a man of few words, and the words he did say were usually about being practical and responsible. To him, Sending that text to my mother was probably the most irresponsible, emotional thing I could have done. Each ring felt like a hammer strike on the cold block of my anger, chipping little pieces of it away and replacing it with a heavy dread. I knew I could not ignore it forever. Taking a deep breath, I swiped to answer and put the phone to my ear. I did not say anything. I just waited. His voice came through, and it was not the loud, disappointed boom I expected. It was quiet, tired, and old. "Your mother is. She's not doing well," he said. There was no greeting, no small talk. Just that simple, heavy statement. I felt a twist of something ugly and satisfied in my gut. Good, I thought. She should feel bad. But his next words surprised me. "She's sitting at the kitchen table, and she won't stop crying. She can't even talk." I still said nothing, my jaw clenched so tight it ached. He sighed, a long, weary sound that traveled 1,000 miles through the phone. "I need you to listen to me for a minute. Just listen. What your mother texted you about the money. It wasn't a lie. Not the way you think." He paused, and I could hear him gathering his thoughts. The market did hit us hard. The investments we were counting on for retirement took a bad turn last year. The money we had set aside, the comfortable cushion. A big part of it is gone. When you asked for help, the truth is, we didn't have a pile of cash sitting around to give you. Writing a check for that amount would have meant selling things at a big loss, messing up our retirement plan in a way we couldn't see how to fix. He was talking about plans and numbers while my son was fighting for his life. The anger flared back up, hot and bright. "But the car." I managed to say, my voice a low growl. "I'm getting to that," he said, his voice still calm. "The car for your sister." That was different. That came from a different place entirely. He stopped again, and I could hear the reluctance in his silence, like he was about to confess a family secret. "Your sister. She has always been fragile. You know that. When her car broke down, she had one of her meltdowns. She called your mother, sobbing, saying she was going to lose her job, that her life was falling apart. You know how she gets." I did know. My sister had always been the dramatic one, the one whose crises were always the center of attention. And your mother. She can't handle it when your sister gets like that. It sends her into a panic. She feels like she has to fix it, to make it stop. So, she did the one thing she felt she could do. She has a separate account, a small one her own father left her. It was her rainy day fund. She decided your sister's broken down car was that rainy day. She drained that account to buy that car, just to make the crying stop. The explanation landed like a lead weight in my stomach. It wasn't a calculated betrayal. It was a weak, pathetic one. It was my mother choosing to quiet my sister's temporary, manufactured drama over saving her grandson's life. She had the money, but it was for a rainy day, and apparently, my son's terminal illness was not a storm, just a light drizzle compared to my sister's tantrum. "So, she had the money," I said, my voice flat and cold. "She just decided my son's life was less important than my sister's convenience." My father was quiet for a long time. "I'm not defending it, son. I'm just explaining it. I didn't know she was going to do it. She did it in a panic. When I found out, I was angry too. But what was done was done. The money was spent." He let out another long breath. "Seeing that picture you sent, it broke her. It forced her to see what she had really done. And it's destroying her." I looked over at the couch where my son was sleeping, his chest rising and falling in a soft, steady rhythm. He was the only thing that mattered in all of this. "I don't care if it's destroying her," I said, and I meant it. "Her feelings are not my problem. My only problem is in this room, sleeping on that couch. You both made your choice. You chose to protect your retirement plan and your rainy day fund. You chose to protect my sister from a little stress. We are choosing to protect our son. We don't need you anymore." The line was silent. I thought I heard a soft sob in the background, my mother's, but I did not care. "I understand," my father finally said, his voice barely a whisper. I wanted you to know the whole story. The whole story is that my son is sick, and you did not help," I said. That's the only part of the story that matters to me. I ended the call. I sat there for a long time, staring at the dark screen of my phone. The cold anger was still there, but it was mixed with a deep, profound sadness. The family I thought I had was gone. The people I thought would be my rock had crumbled into nothing. But as I watched my son sleep, I realized something. We were not alone. We had each other. We had the kindness of co-workers and old friends and strangers. We had a mountain to climb, but we did not have to carry the weight of my family's weakness anymore. In a strange way, sending that text had set us free. The path ahead was still terrifying, but it was ours to walk alone, and for the first time, that felt like enough. The phone did not ring again. The silence this time was different. It was not a question. It was an answer. We were on our own, and we were going to be okay. The silence after the call with my father felt final. It was a heavy, settled quiet, like the dust in an abandoned house. The storm of anger had passed, and what was left was a deep, tired emptiness. I looked at my wife, who had been listening to my side of the conversation with wide, worried eyes. I just shook my head, and she came over and wrapped her arms around me. We didn't need to say anything. The fight was over. We had lost them, but in losing them, we had found a grim kind of clarity. We were on our own. The next few days were strange. There was a hollow feeling in my chest where my family used to be. I kept expecting to feel a pang of guilt or a surge of regret, but it never came. Instead, there was just a steady, low hum of determination. We had a single mission: save our son. Everything else was background noise. The fundraiser continued to be our main focus. The story of what happened with my parents must have gotten out, maybe through a friend of a friend, because donations saw a small, sad spike. People gave $10 or $20 with comments like, "So sorry your family sucks," or "Sending love from one good parent to another." It was bittersweet. We were grateful for the money, but it was awful that it came from the ashes of our relationship with my parents. We stopped talking about them entirely. Their names were not mentioned in our house. It was as if they had moved to another country, or simply ceased to exist. Our world became very small, just the three of us, the doctors, and the kind strangers on the internet who were helping us build a future. Then, about a week later, a different kind of envelope arrived. It was mixed in with the usual hospital bills, but this one was thicker, and the return address was from a law firm. My heart dropped. My first, panic thought was that my parents were suing us for something, for grandparents' rights or for some imagined slight. My hands shook as I tore it open. Inside was a letter and a single, crisp cashier's check. The letter was brief and to the point. It stated that the firm was acting on behalf of an anonymous donor. It said the donor had been following our story and wished to contribute to our son's medical fund. I scanned down to the amount of the check. The number there made my legs go weak. I had to sit down on the floor right there in the hallway. It was not the full amount we needed, but it was close. So incredibly close. It was more money than I had ever seen in one place in my entire life. It was enough to cover the next phase of the treatment and the one after that. It was a miracle, plain and simple. I started crying, great heaving sobs of relief and disbelief. My wife came running, thinking something was terribly wrong. I just held up the check, unable to form words. We held each other on the floor, crying and laughing, the paper clutched tightly in my hand. We called the lawyer whose name was on the letter. He was polite but firm. He would not reveal the identity of the donor under any circumstances. He said the person wanted no thanks, no recognition, only for our son to get better. We were bursting with gratitude with nowhere to direct it. We deposited the check, our hands still trembling. The weight that lifted from our shoulders was physical. We could breathe again. The treatment could continue without the constant, grinding fear of the next bill. We updated the fundraiser, announcing that thanks to an incredible act of generosity, we were overwhelmingly close to our goal. The final donations trickled in, and within a month, we had reached it. We had all the money we needed. It felt like a dream. We celebrated quietly, just the three of us, with a small cake and a movie night. Our son, feeling the shift in the air, was happier and more playful than he had been in months. He was responding well to the treatment, his strength slowly returning. For the first time in a long time, we felt like a normal family, laughing together on the couch, the shadow of financial ruin finally gone. Life began to find a new, steady rhythm. The frantic energy of fundraising was replaced by the focused routine of hospital visits and physical therapy. We were happy, truly happy, in our small, insulated world. And then, my sister called. I saw her name on my phone, and my first instinct was to ignore it. The old anger was still there, a dormant ember. But curiosity got the better of me. I answered, my voice neutral. Hello. She didn't sound like her usual bubbly self. She sounded nervous. Hey, she said. I heard you got the money. For Leo. That's amazing. Yeah, I said, not offering anything more. There was a long pause. Look, she finally said, her words tumbling out in a rush. I know things are messed up. I know what Mom did was. I don't even have a word for it. But I need you to know something. After you sent that text, after everything blew up, Mom. She changed. I didn't say anything, just waited for her to continue. She got really depressed. She could barely get out of bed. Dad was so worried about her. And she started talking about the car. She told me everything, about the rainy day fund, about how she panicked. She said looking at that car made her sick. She made me sell it. This surprised me. I hadn't expected that. She made me sell it, my sister repeated, and she told me to keep the money from the sale. But I couldn't. Her voice got very small. I knew it was wrong. I'm not a great person. I know I'm selfish, but even I knew that was wrong. So I gave her the money back. All of it. I was listening intently now, my grip on the phone tightening. What did she do with it? I asked. My sister took a shaky breath. I don't know for sure. She wouldn't tell me. She just said she was going to try and make things right. She said it was the only thing she could think to do. A suspicion, wild and unbelievable, began to form in my mind. The anonymous donor. The timing. The amount of money. It was impossible, wasn't it? The check was for far more than the value of my sister's car. But combined with what was left of that rainy day fund, it could have been close. My mother, trying to make things right from the shadows, too ashamed to face us. Why are you telling me this? I asked, my voice hoarse. Because you deserve to know, my sister said softly. And because I'm sorry. For everything. For being so blind, for being so selfish. I'm trying to be better. I ended the call a few minutes later, my mind reeling. I looked at my son, who was building a tower of blocks, his concentration absolute. The money had saved him. If it was from my mother, did that change anything? The anger was still there, a scar on my heart. The betrayal had been real. But so was the money that was making my son well. I didn't know what to feel. The past was a tangled mess of pain and weakness and a desperate, last-minute attempt at redemption. But the future, for the first time, was clear and bright. My son was going to be okay. And as I watched him place the final block on his tower, a perfect, wobbly masterpiece, I knew that for now, that was the only answer I needed. The mystery of the money could wait. The healing, for all of us, was just beginning.